Big 12 today here on Big 12 Radio. We are powered by Modelo. It's a Christmas edition. Here comes Ari Timken. He's back. That was a power walk. That was a walk of power. Your CE is off the charts. Confidence, elasticity, ability to bend without breaking. That confidence snapped right back.
If you're new to the show, we've got all kinds of advanced analytics for the show. And James has just done a fantastic job in measuring and devising these statistics, which are obviously going to basically decide our future and the future of other future co-hosts. So, way to go.
You hear that silence? Dude, that's a 10 out of 10 AST. Awkward silence tolerance. Great job, everybody. That was an elite silence hold. Well done, friends. I think we buried the lead today because we've got a whole swag bag over there at our little kitchen area, if you want to call it that. And the Big 12 Conference and Designs for Sport, they announced a new partnership a couple of weeks ago that's going to bring science-backed sports nutrition directly to the epicenter of college athletics. The first of its kind collaboration features curated performance and recovery bundles that are designed for the Big 12 community. These are NSF certified sports supplements. And we've got a swag bag that we'll be touching on more next week. That'll be your Christmas gift to me. The swag box, because I brought you a bobblehead, you brought nothing, and I'm super excited about it. And I know we don't have the official talking points.
You brought Taman a bobblehead of Mecole Hardman. Same initials. I got them confused. They look kind of alike. And then you said I got you a gift, except I didn't bring it, which was epic. That has a huge CE attached to it.
Yeah.
Big time CE.
Big time CE.
Yeah, that's like 90th percentile of CE. So confidence, elasticity.
Yep. Sky high. Ari called me a bumpkin earlier on the show, which is by definition the man wearing a Simpsons ugly Christmas sweater called me a bumpkin, which is an unsophisticated or socially awkward person from the countryside.
Only in reference to the fact that that you nearly went to go buy gift cards at Target on Christmas Eve because the quote-unquote CEO of TuneIn told you to, even though it was clearly not the CEO of TuneIn telling you to go buy gift cards on Christmas Eve.
Bro, I don't know how they did it. It showed up on my phone as his first and last name. That is like AI.
That should have been your first indication that something was wrong.
Level. All right, let's get to our all big.
You're very sophisticated, James. You ooze sophistication. You are on the sophistication meter.
Sometimes, at least once a week. Once a week, I'm very sophisticated.
Your SM is off the charts.
I'm masking. That's what it is. Elite masking.
Your
level.
SM is off the charts.
EML. All right, let's get to our All Big 12 today teams. We did all the offensive guys last week. We did quarterbacks and running backs and receivers and tight ends and offensive linemen. We do first team, second team, third team. We pick one guy for each position. We did defensive ends, pass rushers yesterday. Today we're doing those big space eaters up front.
Okay, so let me ask you this. I believe we're going to have the exact same top three. We had the exact same top three yesterday, which included 2 Texas Tech Red Raiders.
I don't believe we are because there's a lot to choose from, number one. Number two, on the All Big 12 team, the official All Big 12 team, not one of these guys like Phil Steele or Athlons or the AP, the actual league Big 12 first team, only had one true defensive tackle on the first team. The other defensive linemen were all edge rusher guys. So the pool, I think, for us is maybe a little bit greater in terms of directions we could have gone. With that said, who is your third team All Big 12 defensive tackle?
My third team All Big 12 defensive tackle is Carlos Allen from Houston. Just try to check your face. 75 total tackles, 7 tackles for loss, a sack, 2 pass breakups, 2 fumble recoveries. This dude was a maniac. For an interior defensive lineman, this dude was everywhere. And when you consider that Another guy on my list did this last year for Houston, and like he leaves and goes elsewhere, and then all Carlos Allen does is step right in and fill exactly in. It shows you how good Willie Fritz is at designing defense and getting his defensive tackles to be disruptive and finding the right guys to fill those holes. He was really good against the run. Carlos Allen Jr., for me, number 3, third team All Big 12 defensive tackle.
Okay, I see what you did there. All right, I've got, for my third team All Big 12 defensive tackle, a guy that did not have the stats this year. In fact, he only played in 10 games, but his impact when he was on the field was as good as anybody in the conference. I'm going with Dante Corleone.
Wow, okay.
The Godfather, Cincinnati.
Who's been a staple on this list.
He has been a staple on this list in the past. Now, he only had 13 tackles, so I know it looks crazy if we're going off of stats. But the games in which, and not just games, specific drives, when he was on the field, teams had to account for him each and every snap.
Yeah.
3-time all-conference guy, over 100 career tackles, 17 TFLs, 9.5 sacks. He was first-team All-Big 12 last year, and I think the only reason he wasn't this year is because he did miss a couple of games, and he didn't have the numbers on paper. In fact, he didn't have any sacks this year. But again, the drives that he was on the field and the games that he missed, Cincinnati got boat raced, and their defense couldn't stop anybody. But when he was on the field, they were an elite defense. Like, they were a top 10 defense nationally at one point in time when he was 100% healthy. So that, to me, magnifies just how dominating he was when he was on the field. He is a bulldozer. He has day 2 NFL draft potential. Scouts will look at his, recovery speed and everything that he has to deal with off the field with the medical issues. I think that's the only thing holding him back from an NFL standpoint, but he is a dude, and I wanted to highlight him.
Yeah, no, Dante Corleone, good call there. So we're not going to have the same list, which is cool.
Awesome.
All right, my second team, all Big 12 defensive tackle, Texas Tech interior defensive tackle, A.J. Holmes Jr., who transferred from Houston, had 35 total tackles, 4.5 sacks, a forced fumble, 2 fumbles recovered. When you look at his 2024 season, 40 tackles, 8.5 tackles for loss, 2 sacks, 7 quarterback hurries and pressures, and 639 defensive snaps, led Houston's D-line. I mentioned Carlos Allen basically stepped right into what A.J. Holmes did last year after Holmes transfers to Texas Tech along with the former Houston defensive coordinator, Sheil Wood, and he was disruptive. You could pretty much put Texas Tech's entire defensive line, and as we'll see, we'll get to linebackers, front 6, front 7 on this list for all Big 12 first and second team. And you'll see why when we get to our first team. A.J. Holmes, former Houston, this year Texas Tech, defensive tackle, second team all Big 12.
Love the pick. I mean, he might be the most underrated player on that Texas Tech defense. Eileen Bryce Pollock, the cornerback, has 5 interceptions, and I think is one of the best corners in the country because he just locks down the opponent's best receiver. But then A.J. Holmes might be the other guy in terms of like the guy that nobody's talking about. Skylar Gill Howard gets hurt, and Texas Tech doesn't miss a beat because of him. My second team, all Big 12 defensive tackle, is a guy that you had on your third team, Carlos Allen Jr. Led the nation among defensive tackles in total stops with 75 total tackles. You just don't see that from that position. He had 7 TFLs, had a sack, had a forced fumble. An incredible story. He transferred to Houston from Kennesaw State. The kid had one offer out of high school, and it was Kennesaw State. And then he kind of blows up there, and he has a bunch of offers, but he wanted to go somewhere that really highlighted his importance as a person and as a player. Like, he could have gone to bigger programs and been a guy that was like the 3rd or 4th defensive tackle in the rotation, but Willie Fritz sold him on coming to Houston and being a 3-down starter. And now he's predicted as a guy that could very, very well get drafted eventually in his career. He's just rock solid, consistent defensive tackle up front, alignment, discipline, sound for that Houston defense. And he's the reason why that Houston defense didn't miss a beat this year,
right,
even losing A.J. Halsey in the portal.
Right. Or Holmes.
Yeah.
Losing both of those guys. Allen just stepped right in and did the exact same thing. And to your point, maybe the biggest thing about both of those guys on your list, Corleone and Allen, is when they were off the field, the difference on the defense overall. Like, you could see it was drastic. Anytime Carlos Allen, I remember there was a game where he got hurt, missed some time, and it's like, whoa, the defensive difference with and without him is significant. We obviously saw that with Corleone as well. I'm fairly certain, 99.99999%, that you and I have the exact same first team All Big 12 defensive tackle, who would be former UCF defensive tackle Lee Hunter from Texas Tech, who statistically you can take into account how valuable he is. But I would argue Lee Hunter's best value isn't defined by stat sheet. It's his leadership qualities. As we've heard from Joey McGuire, as we've heard and seen throughout, like, his leadership qualities, he is the leader of that defense. As good as Jacob Rodriguez is, as good as everybody else is, he's the dude with the loudest voice in that locker room from a defensive perspective. He is the glue for that defense. 34 tackles, 8.5 tackles for loss, 2.5 sacks. It's kind of amazing considering the sack totals for David Bailey and Romello Height, that there's sacks left for other guys, but Hunter has done it. Yeah. So if you're counting at home, my first and third team defensive ends and my first and second team's defensive tackles were from Texas Tech.
How many guys were from Texas Tech?
4 of my 6.
4. That's amazing.
Including first and second team defensive tackle and first and third defensive ends.
And on the official All Big 12 team, 3 of the 5 defensive linemen that they list are from Texas Tech. My first team All Big 12 defensive tackle is Dominic Orange from Iowa State. Just kidding. It's Lee Hunter.
Okay.
It's Lee Hunter. I just wanted to give Dom Orange a shout out because he had a really good year.
I mean, you're right, but wow, I was like,
oh, that's good. Yeah, it's Lee.
Watching the games.
Yeah. That would make me a part-time fan.
Yeah.
It's Lee Hunter. We're full-time fans. 34 tackles, 2.5 sacks. He's a dude. And you brought up his leadership. Like, he had a great line before Texas Tech's game against BYU in the Big 12 championship game where he's like, yeah, so if we end up with a bye in the college football playoff, it means I get to go home for Christmas and spend some more time with my daughter. And he went out, and he was a one-man wrecking crew in that game. Third-team AP All-American this season. He was really productive at Auburn initially. Then he transfers to UCF because he's not getting the workload that he wanted. Goes to UCF, has 2 really good years there. And then in Gus Malzahn's last year, that defense really faltered. And he kind of, I think in some ways, flew under the radar in terms of just how good he is. He also is a single-digit number wearing defensive tackle. You cannot wear a single digit if you're not a dude. He's a dude. Lee Hunter's my first team All Big 12 defensive tackle. That's my list. Chris Level is coming up next. The Texas Tech sideline reporter for the Red Raider. Why are you giggling?
You're funny.
Why are you
funny? You're a funny guy.
Captain Chucklehouse over here. This guy's just been wheels off all week. Unpredictable. Your CAI is off the charts.
Thank you.
Color aggression index today. A lot of colors on that sweater, and I like it.
I'd prefer my confidence elasticity be off the charts. That's the one I'm going for.
10 out of 10 there.
Yeah,
as
thank
well.
You. Thank you.
So what are we going to ask Chris Level about Texas Tech as they get ready for either Oregon or James Madison? My first question is, who does Texas Tech want in the portal at quarterback? Is it Brendan Sorsby? Is it Josh Hoover? Who does he think would be a better fit for the Red Raiders?
Also, I mean, we could ask him about that. Of course, the playoff. And how about basketball team? Who gave up 90 points to Northern Colorado or Colorado East Southwest?
Yeah. Grant McCaslin's, he's big mad about that.
Colorado Pueblo? I can't remember.
Oh, and they played Duke this weekend.
Yeah, that too.
A lot going on in Lubbock. That's coming up next. Chris Level joins us on Big 12 today on Big 12 Radio. This is the Big 12 Conference. This is a different league.